Hi, I'm Kiori Mirza Waldman, and you're watching The Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am so happy to be joined by Kiori Mirza Waldman. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Of course, I'm so happy to be chatting with you. You just had a new film released, so we will get into all the details of Ice Cream Man. You were just at the premiere the other
I
week too,
was.
so how much fun was that and getting to reunite with a lot of the cast and crew as well?
It was so fun. It was so fun. We were just all dressed up, and we were all just having such a fun time taking pictures on the red carpet. It was a super fun time, and that was my first time seeing the movie too, so that was really exciting.
Getting to celebrate with everyone. You had a wonderful dress, which was reminiscent of ice cream that I know you talked about before. So who did you work with to kind of design or get that dress and be able to, get ready for a big red carpet?
Well, I was just really drawn to butter yellow because there was something about it, it's just so summery and it really gave ice cream vibes. So I just literally went online and searched butter yellow dress and I found that and I got that dress, which I'm so happy I found because I love it so much. But I got my makeup done at the Grove by Charlotte Tilbury, which was a really cool experience. And I got my hair done at a local, um, yeah, just at a local place. I forgot what it's called, but it was a really amazing place.
Well, you looked wonderful.
Thank
Hopefully, one
you.
of the first of many premieres to come in your future. I wanted to cycle back a bit and ask, what can you share about your background in the arts and what sparked that passion in you to pursue this field as a career?
Yeah, so I've been performing and being creative ever since I can remember. I'm definitely an arts girl. By the time I was 7, I was playing piano, I was singing, I was dancing, I was songwriting, I was putting on plays for my family, and I was very involved in musical theater. I think musical theater is where I realized that acting was something that I genuinely wanted to pursue. I just found it so amazing that I could connect with people and tell stories while doing something that I genuinely enjoyed. And that made me interested in trying out film and TV. I officially started film and TV acting in my tween years when I was 11 or 12. And for the exact same reason, I just loved being able to tell a story and connect with others while doing something that I genuinely loved. And I hope that never stops.
I know you said in another interview, like you just referenced, you performed plays for your family in your living room. You created your own cooking show at age 7, so you've always been very creative. In addition to acting on stage and with theater, you also have experience writing your own plays. So, how did your love of creating behind the scenes develop and wanting to tell your own stories?
So I started when I was like super young. I used to like make little tickets out of construction paper and I'd force my brother to act with me and then I'd force my family to watch. It was a whole thing. But more recently I've just been writing little things for myself. I think just acting really made me curious about the other side of storytelling. I just really love receiving a script and being able to read about this imaginary world that someone's created so realistically. And I just like all the little details that people don't notice too, like the main character's childhood memory or their favorite snack, like like their middle name, just those kind of things. And that just made me very curious, and I wanted to try it out for myself. And I love anything creative. So if it's creative, I'll do it.
I love that because a lot of, what goes into a character is also the preparation. So you're really interested in, diving into a character's mind, their background, their finer details. I know that you've cited Jenna Ortega, Jennifer Lawrence, and Ariana Greenblatt as some of your inspirations. How do these actors and their work inspire you?
Yeah, they are truly my biggest inspirations. I think it's just their ability to play a range of characters so incredibly. Like, yeah, Jenna Ortega, recently she's been in more horror things like Wednesday. But before that, she was in a lot of comedies. Like, she was in Disney, she was in Yes Day, and she played those roles so incredibly. Like, same with Jennifer Lawrence, she's sometimes funny and light in some movies, and then other ones she's like really raw and vulnerable, like in Hunger Games. And same thing with Ariana Greenblatt, same thing with her and Barbie and Disney. Like it's just their ability to perfectly play a range of characters is something that I take a lot of inspiration from, and they're also just so funny.
And to mention that, I mean, some of these actors, like Ariana Greenblatt, she is also quite young and she started quite young. So it's really
Yeah.
cool, I'm sure, to see, these actors in the industry and how they can grow their resumes and their careers.
Mhm.
Tell me about music because you play the piano, guitar, and sing. So where did this love come from, and how would you describe your connection to music?
That's a good question. I grew up in a very musical family. My dad and my grandma specifically. I grew up listening to a lot of the classics with my grandma, like Joni Mitchell, Paul Simon, the Beatles. I had an insane knowledge of Joni Mitchell songs, like by grade one. It was insane. Yeah, I just always grew up listening to that, and I think that's where a lot of my music love came from. I was put in piano lessons really early too, and I remember after my first piano lesson, I just became so obsessed with it that I would practice nonstop. And that's actually also where I figured out my passion for songwriting. There was this assignment where we had to make a piece of our own, and I was the only one to add lyrics to it, and I just kept on songwriting beyond that. And yeah, I just love songwriting so much. It's kind of like a diary for me. If I ever have a feeling or I'm in a situation, I don't go to a therapist or write in the diary. I make a song out of it. It's just my creative outlet, and same with piano and guitar. Just making music in general. Just yeah, it's where I express myself.
How would you describe your songwriting process? Like, what are you inspired by on the day to day? And you mentioned you like write in your diary. So is that the first place where those ideas go?
I think my songwriting process really differentiates. Like all the songs I've written, it just varies a lot. LOV5, I wrote in my room when I was thinking about like this grade six crush I had. I take a lot of inspiration from other artists too, Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah, that's actually what LOV5 was inspired by. Sometimes chord sequences on the piano, because recently I've learned a lot more about chords. So a lot of my more recent songs have formed from chords or just thoughts that I'm feeling, and all of my songs are based off of something I'm obviously feeling, even if the final version might not be as literal.
So let's talk about that debut single, LOV5, last year. How was your experience creating your first song, like recording it and then, putting it together to get that final product that has now been released?
That was a really cool experience. I wrote LOV5 one night when I was in my room and I was thinking about this grade six crush that I had. And at that age, grade six crushes are just like super secretive and like embarrassing. And I just remember I was so caught on it. And prior to that, I was listening to I Think a Kinda You Know from High School Musical, the series. Super long name. I was obsessed with it, still am. And I just thought it was so cute how the two main characters in that song were trying to say I love you to each other, but not literally. They were like, guess I'm saying I don't not love you. And I just found that really cool. So I just started playing around with different ways to say I love you without saying it. So originally LOV5 was just completely made out of numbers. And I was like, no, that's too nerdy. So I ended up just going with LOV5 because it's kind of like I was admitting to it, but not entirely because it was embarrassing. And yeah, I just kept on singing it in the shower. The next day, I added chords to it, and then my mom came and listened to it, and she thought it was a real song. And so for my birthday gift, I got to get it produced. That was so fun. I just found it so fun to create something of my own, and the backtrack was also so exciting to create. And being in the studio, it was such a wild process, and I'm so happy I got to experience it.
And I know you are currently working on new music. You have an upcoming release later this month in a 13 and a music video. So, what can you share about those?
Yes, so it's called 13. I wrote it somewhere like in the middle of my 13th year. It's about not knowing when you're gonna fit in, and it's just really also that 13 is not the best year of your life. I feel like everyone makes it seem like it's a really fun year, but for me and a lot of other people, it was not. So yeah, I'm really excited to release it. The music video was a blast to film. We filmed it literally like right here. It was in my house, and it was a crazy day. We had like 20 kids just all in my living room. Yeah, and I really just hope people enjoy it. So it should be out by the end of August.
You mentioned Olivia Rodrigo. Who else are you currently listening to and are inspired by as an artist?
Oh my gosh, I'm inspired by so many artists. Like I said, growing up, I listened to a lot of the classics, like Joni Mitchell, the Beatles. I really had this phase where I was obsessed with like Bryan Adams and the Spice Girls, so I think I take a lot of inspiration from that too. But Olivia Rodrigo is my greatest inspiration. It's just something about her storytelling and her rhythm and the melodies and the lyrics just perfectly encapsulates what she's feeling and the point she's trying to get across, and it's just relatable in so many different ways. I just take so much inspiration from her. I think she's amazing.
You did do some covers. You've released some on TikTok, including Olivia, Taylor Swift. Your little cover of Sienna Spiral's Die on This Hill, so good. You have such a
Oh, thank
fantastic
you.
voice. So I look forward to seeing the music video and hearing the new song when it's released. If comfortable speaking about your background, can you tell me about your mixed race heritage and how it shaped your identity?
Of course. So I am Japanese, Pakistani, and Jewish. Kind of got a little bit of everything in there. I feel so lucky that I got to grow up with a multicultural background and be exposed to many different traditions and cultures. I mean, I think my favorite part of it is the food. Like around the holiday season, it's the best ever. I'll be eating like latkes for Hanukkah. My grandma will bring over like long noodles for longevity for the Japanese New Year's, and I'll have curry and turkey. I think the food is my favorite part, and I'm so happy that I got to be exposed to so many different traditions. And yeah, I think it's just really made me realize that your identity doesn't have to fit neatly into one box, and I'm just so proud of it.
So growing up in Toronto, like it is a bit more of a multicultural place. So did you always feel connected? Do you speak any other languages?
So I'm actually so grateful I grew up in Toronto because, as you said, it is such a multicultural city, and I grew up around so many kids of different cultures and ethnicities. So I never thought that having a multicultural background was ever unusual or weird. My school embraces diversity. Yeah, I don't speak any other languages, which all my grandparents are pretty mad about. My grandma tried to teach me Japanese, but I just couldn't pick it up. But yeah, I mean, like for Passover and Hanukkah, I'll sing the prayers in Hebrew, but other than that, no. But I celebrate a bunch of like the major Jewish holidays and Japanese New Year's and Christmas.
It must be nice to have these family get-togethers. You feel so connected and you're able to continue that, especially as you grow older. We will get into Ice Cream Man now, and I will note to all those watching that we are discussing spoilers. So please make sure you have finished the movie before continuing our interview with Kiori. You star as Mia, so what can you tell me about your audition process?
The audition process was a blast. It was so fun. Initially, I sent in a self tape, and it was the scene where we were in the freezer. We're just like stuck in a freezer, and also the scene where I was crying in the hallway. So it really showed my acting skills. The scene was actually the freezer scene was actually cut out of it, which I'm pretty sad about, but it's okay. Yeah, so I sent that in. I got a call back. I got to meet with Eli, who I just instantly, I was like, this guy, he is passionate about what he does, and he was so nice. And I got to meet with Stephanie Gorin, the casting director, who is so sweet. She's amazing. I got to read with a bunch of the kids that they were also auditioning. Then around like 2 hours later, I got a call back, which is pretty quick. I've never gotten that quickly. So then I auditioned for the third time, and I got to have my chemistry test with Shiloh O'Reilly and Charlie Zeltzer, and I just immediately just like felt a connection between us. It felt like I knew them forever. It really did. Yeah, and I just knew that they were gonna play Tommy and Jared. I just couldn't picture anyone else. Yeah, it was a great experience.
When you initially auditioned, like what were you told about this project? Like how much of the plot or synopsis was given to you?
I mean, I remember that they did say it was like a gruesome horror film, and I was like, ooh, okay, like, okay, sure, maybe I'm into that. And then they said that it had to do that there was this ice cream man chasing kids, and that kids were possessed. But when I got the script after I landed the role, I was like, this is not what, like, this is even scarier than I envisioned. It was, yeah, I think they definitely didn't tell us how scary it was gonna be, but I'm so happy that I got to be part of it. I just always really wanted to be in a horror movie.
It's like you have this picture in your mind of what it's going to be, and then when you get there, you're like, this is so much more than I initially imagined. Prior to the movie, I know that you were a self-described scaredy cat. So tell me about your relationship with the horror and slasher genres.
Yes, so as self-described, I am a scaredy cat. I am pretty scared of watching horror movies, but I've always really appreciated the acting and the creative process behind it, like the visuals and the makeup and the dummies and the music that somehow makes it so much scarier. I've just always really loved that side of it. And I grew up with my dad who loves horror movies. He's obsessed with horror movies. I used to watch little clips of the classics, like I watched Smile and The Shining before I auditioned, and then I watched Thanksgiving after I landed the role to see what I got myself into. And I think that actually made me realize that horror movies are actually pretty fun to watch. I mean, I was just having a blast. My friend and I watched it together, and we were just screaming and laughing and like crying together. It was actually a really fun experience.
Were you ever uncomfortable or squeamish with like the idea of so much fake blood and gore?
I was really excited to be in a horror movie. I think the acting in it is so cool, but at first, I remember telling my acting coach after I landed it, I was like, oh gosh, like I feel like I'm gonna be scared on set the whole time. Like, am I gonna be okay? And then I went on set on the first day and it was so fun. Like, I got to hold a dead hand and like throw it at people. Like, it was not scary at all.
You overcame any maybe fear that you thought that you had, but that's great and sets the stage well for future horror projects. How proud was your dad after, he's seen the movie and got in to see his daughter in a horror movie, which he loves and maybe now he can consider a classic?
He was so proud and so grateful to have him in my life. I remember when I booked the role, um, I went into my house and he was like, we need to tell you something. I was like, what? And then my mom was like, we're gonna go and get ice cream, which is weird because I'm lactose intolerant. And then my dad, like, I started crying and then I started hugging my dad and my dad started crying. He also loves Eli Roth. He watched him in Inglorious Bastards and he watched Cabin Fever and all his films. And he's so supportive and I'm so grateful to have him in my life.
Did your parents get to like alternate being with you on set?
Actually, it was mostly my mom on set with me because she was really close with Charlie's mom and Shiloh's mom on set. It was like kind of like the moms all had this little group. But my dad did come on set some of the days and he was just starstruck. I just knew he loved it on set and watching Eli direct and watching his body parts be flung everywhere.
Nothing like being around behind the scenes and seeing how it's all put together. Now,
Exactly.
how would you describe Mia as a person and what drew you to this character?
Ooh, so at the beginning, Mia just comes off as your stereotypical popular teenage girl. She's always trying to be cool and trendy, and fit in, well, not fit in, stand out, I guess, but not be weird. And throughout, like, as the movie progresses, you really start to see the real side of Mia that's caring and passionate and is brave and courageous. And I think that's what really drew me to her was her journey because I thought that would just be really cool to play into.
Did you share any similarities with her, or were there more differences?
Mm, I don't actually think I share a lot of similarities with Mia because she is so much more brave than I'd ever be. I'd be the first one possessed if I was thrown into that. But I mean, unless my cat was in danger or my family, then I hope I would pull through. But yeah, I think she's way more brave than I could ever be.
You need to like put something high stakes in there for you to
Exactly.
like, but you never know. Like you said, like you sometimes it's like fight or flight response, right? If you're like your cat is in trouble, I'm going to be there. We don't meet Mia's parents in the movie, but talking about that background that you really kind of love to think about and develop, do you think she had a good relationship with her parents? Like, how was her life at home with her family?
Good question. I mean, when I was, because I always, whenever I get a role, I always try to really study the character and visualize their background history. I kind of pictured Mia as being very independent at home and yeah, just being very independent. She would deal with things herself, did not have a close connection with her parents, just based off of her always being on like social media and taking pictures, and because I mean every time you see her at the start of the movie she's doing something involved with social media and doesn't seem very involved with her parents' life at all. So that's just kind of how I pictured her.
I really like to hear that insight, because it's not even like she references her parents at
I know
all. You
she's
know, she
not
doesn't
even studying
ask,
this.
how they're doing, although we know that she likely did not do anything to her parents, but she doesn't show any concern to what they're up to.
Mhm.
She is thrown together with Jared and Tommy as students who haven't yet been turned, and they become this group trying to escape and stop the ice cream man. How do you think Mia felt being with these boys who, as young people, each other as students, but aren't exactly friends with?
I think at the beginning it was definitely out of her comfort zone and awkward because these are boys she would never hang out with. Like Jared is like a little nerd in her eyes, and Tommy's just a rule breaker because he's just a rule breaker. So I think at the beginning it obviously is out of her comfort zone, but the survival like instincts kick in, and they're forced to come together and trust each other. And they end up forming this bond where there's all kind of teasing each other and making jokes. So I think it's really a journey. But so I would say at the beginning, awkward, but then at the end, she learns to really love and care for them.
Which was your favorite scene to film and why?
I know I say this for every interview, but it's just because it genuinely is. There's this scene where Charlie, who plays Jared, has a fire extinguisher and has to like spray all the kids away. So he actually sprayed me and Shiloh and some of the camera crew, and we were just laughing the whole time because he just could not use the fire extinguisher and he just kept on misaiming. It was a really fun scene. Another fun scene I would say is when we're also running through the playground and we're just like looking at kids creatively using body parts to play games.
You did do a lot of running in this movie, mostly at the school set, and I will talk about that scene. So, how was that in particular in the schoolyard playground? Because there were a lot of actors and moving parts. So, getting from, point A to point B by the fence.
I think those were the most fun scenes to film. It was just like a giant camp. We were like I socialized with so many of the background kids. I'm friends with a lot of them. Yeah, it was just so fun. We'd all play games behind the takes. We'd also like play tag with hands and hit each other with rubber hammers. It was those were the most fun scenes to film, and they were just so adrenaline filled and energetic and horrifying and creative.
Very chaotic in the final cut. But are you given like a lot of direction by Eli in terms of, when the cameras are moving and following you, there is some like choreography involved.
I remember before each take, he'd always like hype us up. He'd be like, "You were just running through the school. Now you're gonna go and run, and you're gonna like." There definitely was a lot of choreography in terms of like where we're gonna run to, so we don't run into kids. But I mean, so still some of the movement, he just let us be very free with our movement. I know some parts like Jared tripping and tying his shoe was definitely choreographed, and that was just a really funny scene to film. But yeah, he would just hype us up a lot and he would just let us have so much fun.
I guess that's also the good thing with young actors, though, is you have a lot of energy to do
Exactly.
these takes like over and over again. This isn't the focus of the movie, but on a more serious note, it was hard to hear Mia hint at having an eating disorder and it being common for girls her age. Do you have any thoughts on this side of her and having to recite that dialogue?
Yeah, so I had no input, obviously, on the script or the dialogue I had to say. So my job was just more understanding that side of Mia and where that came from. I mean, at the beginning, you can tell she's super fixated on her appearance and social media. She's filming TikTok, she's taking pictures. She brings it up a lot. So my job was just to really understand that and how I mean social media does really create a lot of pressure on teenage girls about their appearance and how they should look and how they should act. So I just really had to understand that side of Mia and try to understand that pressure she was feeling while not normalizing that.
fantastic answer. Unfortunately, yeah, it wasn't touched upon more, but at that time, like you do just really want to get into her mindset and social media being so prevalent, like that's a really good kind of explanation for what she feels and the pressure to perform and present well. How much of what we saw with the kids at school terrorizing the adults was practical and how much was added in post-production? You mentioned, having the hammers and fake hands. So in terms of all the blood and guts on set, how was that for you to react to?
A lot of it was actually practical, which was really amazing because my reactions, I'm sure, would be much better with a more practical set. Yeah, there was just so much practical stuff. Actually, there's just like a room filled with dummies. Like I said, bunch of body parts everywhere. So much blood, an insane amount of blood. The ice cream was actually not real ice cream in a lot of the scenes. It was either like Play-Doh or mashed potatoes, or like hard icing covered in water. So yeah, that made it really easy to react to, but if you just took that raw footage and watched it, you'd be like, oh, that's fake. So I think the special effects did really make it a lot more real and scary.
Were there any props that made you uncomfortable, or was all of it kind of fun?
Um, I think all of it was really fun. I think the one part where I was like, oh, this is kind of nasty, it was like we had to shut the freezer door, and so they stuck like a dummy hand behind it. So like the hand would like the door would slam on the hand, and that's just like, oh, that's just kind of made me like, oh, this does not feel right. But every part of it was fun.
For the mashed potatoes, I love that. We'll talk about this a bit more later on the ending, but when the kids have the ice cream on their around their mouth, like, is that just makeup or is that like something that actually tastes good?
The makeup team was incredible on that. They had to do like hundreds of kids every day. Yeah, it was, I think it was all makeup. And when I got possessed at the end, for me, it was literally just a bunch of face paint and like splattered cranberry juice that was like blood. And they would like put on the sprinkles one by one. They would hand put it on, which was insane. Yeah, the makeup department was incredible, really.
They were kept busy, I'm sure. All of the touch-ups in between scenes as well, but tremendous job by them. What can you say about Ari Millen's performance as the ice cream man?
Although the film does not make Ari look very kind, he is honestly the kindest, sweetest person in real life. His acting is so amazing because to have no dialogue yet still perfectly execute this, unsettling, mysterious, creepy ice cream man is absolutely insane, and he just killed it. His execution was perfect, and he was so fun to hang out with on set. He was so funny. He would tell us stories. He would make us laugh behind the scenes. He's gonna go places. He's amazing.
I also loved the ice cream truck and the mascot with the bow tie. So how much fun was it to see that truck on set? Because it looks very welcoming, but then you take a closer look at the menu and you realize what is going on.
Yeah, it was so fun. And my reaction seeing it for the first time, I was like, no way. Like I would definitely get ice cream from this. Like I'd be cooked if I was in this movie because it's so cute. Like it has like all the cute little symbols with like the little like spiders with the cute eyes. It was not scary at all looking at that ice cream truck, but the music was pretty creepy. Like from coming from the ice cream cone. I was like, oh, it's a little unsettling.
They're like green flag, red flag, and then you kind of assess the situation. The movie also does have some comedic moments, such as when Jared pulls out his Android phone and Mia doesn't know how to use it. Definitely having some judgment there. Was it fun to balance these lighter scenes with the high stakes life or death situation?
Super fun. I mean, that's definitely is just also very Eli Roth style in a lot of his films, like Thanksgiving. He balances um, you being scared with you laughing, which I think makes it amazing. So I'm just not screaming and crying the whole time. Like I remember when I watched the film for the first time, I had definitely a lot of moments of laughter. So I think that made it really fun to film too. The contrast was really fun to play.
Throughout the day, Mia does grow as a person. How would you say she changes after what she's been through?
Yeah, so at the beginning, again, you can't really see the real Mia. She's just trying to be popular, cool, and trendy. But then when it becomes a life or death moment, you really see the brave, courageous side of her. And I think it's just amazing because she really does, you really see that she does care for people and she really does care for these boys, which I think made it so heartbreaking at the end when they just watched her get possessed. That broke my heart. Yeah, I think you really see the vulnerable, real side of Mia.
And, towards the end, you can really see them start to care for each other. When she at the playground almost has that moment as well, like they are concerned for her. They want each other to make it out of there alive and without being turned. Unfortunately, like you alluded to, there is no happy ending for these characters unless you're the ice cream man. When you read the script and you found out Mia's fate and how Baylene's Bay couldn't be saved, what were those thoughts?
Although I was heartbroken for Mia, I was actually kind of excited to play a possessed character because I just thought that would be a cool challenge to take on, and it's just like cool to be possessed. So I was actually not that sad.
It definitely opens the door for, I don't know, future possibilities. I want to
Mhm.
talk about that because the end of the movie kind of leaves it on a bit of a sad note. But have you already thought about an ice cream man too? Like, would you return? What would you like to see?
Well, I mean, at the end, you do see the ice cream truck going towards the city. So that would be pretty cool to see the kids just take over a city rather than a small town. I feel like you could do some cool shots of that, like in a mall, or yeah, I just think that would just be even cooler to film, but who knows?
Have you talked to Eli at all or any of your castmates about a potential sequel?
I mean, me, Shiloh, and Charlie, we're of course really hoping that we can film another film like this because it was such a fun experience. I mean, Eli does hint at it a little bit, but can't say too
You're
much.
keeping quiet for now, but
Really
here's to
keep quiet.
hoping. I mean, people need to watch this movie and love it and really ask for a sequel. I think there's so much
Mhm.
more world to explore. Like you mentioned in the city, you did share most of your scenes with Charlie and Shiloh as Jared and Tommy. So how were they to work with, and did you get to know each other when the cameras weren't rolling?
Charlie and Shiloh have truly become my best friends. We like I said when we had that chemistry, it was just like an instant connection. When we got like cuz I remember we met a day prior to the first day of filming cuz Eli just wanted us to kind of get to know each other. The moment I met them, we just started joking and laughing with each other, and just we already had an inside joke on the first day, which was hilarious. We bonded so quickly. I still hang out with them all the time. I actually just watched Ice Cream Man in theaters with them, which was a super fun experience. It was really funny to see us on the screen, and then at the end when the lights went up, people just looked at us and they're like, "Are they in the movie?" So they're just my best friends. I'm so grateful that I got to work with them, and they're so talented. I know they're gonna go far.
I know that you said in another interview that you filmed some TikToks together, you played games, you had some jam sessions. So was it really easy to separate, going to film the movie and be serious, but then when they said the cameras were stop rolling, you could kind of just like chill out and get to know each other?
Most of the time, yes, it was okay, but for some scenes, someone would like make a joke prior to that filming, and then someone wouldn't be able to stop laughing. And it'd be like, guys, like you're about to get murdered by kids. We can't be laughing for this. But most of the time, we had it under control and we were able to separate that.
Young actors problem. But hey, as long as Eli was really good to work with, especially having worked with, young actors in other projects. So how was that experience working with him? Obviously, he is so well known in the horror genre as well.
Eli is just so nice and he's so funny, and you can just tell he's really so passionate about what he does. He just made set a blast every day. He would let us do like these takes after we got the scene where we get to do like impressions or just change it up, like do it in a British accent or do like Dora the Explorer style. Yeah, he was just so fun. He was like the camp counselor at a camp. Yeah, he's so talented, and the fact that he made this year 20 years before it was actually like produced I thought was insane and just really shows how he really does have a drive for producing horror movies.
And to think that a lot of these young children, yourself included, were not even alive when he conceptualized this movie, which is crazy. But I'm so glad he was able to kind of see it through. And now you have Ice Cream Man out to share with everyone. Congratulations on the movie. You are so fantastic in it. I have to ask, do you have any upcoming projects that you can share?
Well, I do have a role in an American TV series. I actually can't say too much about it because nothing has been released about it. But yeah, I have a role in that. I'm not done filming it yet, so you're gonna have to stay tuned on socials to hear more.
That sounds very exciting, and
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you are continuing to work. Are there any specific projects or genres you would love to be a part of in the future now that you have crossed horror off your list?
Well, I would really, really love to be in like a High School Musical, the musical, the series. I know it's such a long name, but I just think has acting and it has singing and it has dancing all in one thing, and those are like the three things I love most. So I'd really love to be part of that, or to be an antagonist in a horror movie.
Just like a subtle hint there to a sequel for Ice Cream Man. But yeah, it would be so fun to see you with something where you get to make use of your musical abilities, and
Thank you.
singing would be so great. I think you have a bright career, bright future ahead of you. So I can't wait to follow along. I have one more question, which is our signature question, but you are the most perfect person to ask this to because of your movie. If you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
Like, I love that question. So there's this like local ice cream parlor near me, and I don't know if this flavor actually is like a real flavor, but it's called Cookie Monster. And I think I would be that flavor because it's my favorite color. It's like a royal blue. It's actually like the shirt I'm wearing right now. It's a royal blue, and because it's fun and unique. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like it has this like childhood, almost like playfulness to it as well with the name and Cookie Monster from Sesame Street, which is also a show before your time. Are you familiar with it?
I used to watch it all the time when I was little. It's actually my favorite show. I loved watching Elmo.
Okay, that is so cute. I guess like they kind of did bring Sesame Street back, I think, for the newer generation, but
Yeah,
the origins and history do cycle back quite a bit.
Mhm.
Well, Kiori, it's been such a pleasure getting to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was honestly such an amazing interview. I loved it so much.
I hope we get to catch up in the future, but until then, for all those watching, make sure to catch Kiori as Mia in Ice Cream Man, which is out now in theaters. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.